Yeah, I have wonderful memories of being an education student at A&M. I think that I can remember Dr. Rupley in particular. He was one of my reading teachers, and I think I remember in particular that because he was also the namesake for my fish camp when I was a co-chair, so that was exciting. But just being a student, I think I learned so much. I felt really very prepared, and at the same time it was really fun. The skills that I learned from the university and transitioning to the classroom, definitely, I would say the number one thing that I learned was really building relationships with my students. I think that, the teaching piece, the academics, I really think many people could do that, but really fostering those relationships with my students is so key, and it's so vital to their success. And I feel like my experience as an education major at A&M really helped me to be able to build those relationships. I think that fostering relationships leads to trust with my students and academic success. I think I see that obviously in the short term at the end of the year when they go on to 4th grade and they've got great grades on their report card or they've done well on state testing. But for me, it's really the long term. I had an experience recently. One of my students was in a major car accident. He's 19 years old now. I had him when he was a 3rd grader, and he has to use a wheelchair. He's a quadriplegic, and he has since reached out to me, and we now are great friends, and he's learning how to do life from a wheelchair. And I think that had I not taken time to get to know him and for him to get to know me, I think that's important too. I don't know that he would have reached back out to me for help as he's facing this challenge in his life. I don't want anything to happen to any of my students, but if it does, I want to be that teacher that they're going to reach back to and call and know that I'm there for them. I've seen a lot of changes in my 16 years of teaching and education, and I think obviously one of the biggest ones is the influence of social media. And I think that the way that children take in information obviously has changed greatly, and we have to be prepared for that as educators. What are we going to do to adapt our presentation mode so that students are receiving information in a way that they're used to and they're comfortable with and they're successful with? My teaching philosophy is to teach the children to never give up. I think it takes real grit to be successful in school in the year 2016. I think that kids have to persevere through all of the circumstances that are going on in their lives, all of the distractions, social media, all of those things can negatively affect a student, and they've got to continue and press on through it. And so it's my job to teach them that. I was crowned Miss Wheelchair Texas in February of 2004 and spent a year touring the state as a spokeswoman for people with disabilities. And after that, was asked to take over the organization and actually founded the Miss Wheelchair Texas Foundation. And we've been here in Houston. It's where our home base, I guess you would say, is since 2005. And every year we have an annual gala that is really looking for a strong, confident woman to represent all Texans with disabilities. My hopes for Miss Wheelchair Texas is that we just continue to really eliminate stereotypes. For me personally, when I tell people that I'm a teacher, I don't want them to be shocked by that, oh my goodness, a person who uses a wheelchair is a teacher. I want that to be every day. That makes perfect sense to me. I want that to be the thought processes of the general public, that people with disabilities are just as active and just as much a part of their communities as anybody else.